Maria, how are you doing today?
I think I'm good, considering.
All things considered?
Oh.
You don't sound too convinced.
I mean, on a personal level, I'm fine. On a societal, global, worldwide level, I'm a little bit worried, if that's
Wow.
what you...
Because I'm looking at you and you seem great. You seem healthy. You seem happy. You seem like everything's, going well for you. But
I'm trying to be the change I want to see in the world.
right.
Who
And
said
underneath
that?
this, be the change you want to be in the world. You put me on the spot. I
I
don't
think it was
remember.
Gandhi or one of those
Yeah.
wise...
One of those wise people. But what I was saying is that what you're telling me, underneath the surface, there's another story, right? On the
Don't
outside,
we
you seem
all
like everything's...
have two sides?
See, I was trying to get it out of you. Today's expression, las dos caras de la moneda.
The
You
two
got me.
sides of a coin, which I think we all have light and we all have darkness, and it depends on which one we want to feed.
Absolutely. And that's like on a very general level, but even at the specific level, everything that happens, some things are simple, but a lot of things that happen in our lives can have two sides, right?
Well, are you trying to get me talk about what we have been discussing behind the scenes?
Yes. But before we do that, this is Just a Spanish Phrase, the podcast where we dive into the Spanish expressions, the idiomatic expressions that we love so much, look into their history, their origins, and how they're used. And of course, where do we get the inspiration for this? From News and Slow Spanish, our parent podcast, the main show that we produce where you can learn Spanish through current events. There in Spanish, you can listen to the news and practice your Spanish comprehension. But here in English, we're going to examine these juicy phrases and see what is up with them. So, with that out of the way, tell me about your dark side, Maria.
My dark side.
Well, either side. One of the sides. There's two after all.
Well, yes, we must tell you, listeners, that of course Renzo and I discussed before we come here to this podcast some of the ideas we want to we're not reading a script, but we want to think, share what we are thinking about regarding the expression. And today's expression touched me very closely, las dos caras de la moneda, the two sides of the coin, because I have been experiencing that since January 3rd, because I woke up on January 3rd. I don't know if you all know, I'm from Venezuela originally. Me and all my family and all my friends are part of the 8 million Venezuelans who had to escape Venezuela due to the poor conditions, violation of human rights.
The list goes on.
The list goes on. You probably all know it by now. So I was very worried when I saw images of my city, the city where I grew up in, the city where I went to school, where I saw, my family, part of my family and friends are still there, being bombarded. So I felt very sad. Then I saw the dictator, Nicolas Maduro, who had caused so much pain, arrested, and I was very happy. And then I saw, it was like the coin kept on flipping. Las dos caras de la moneda kept showing, like, oh, this is good, oh, this is bad. Then imagine a Nobel Prize for peace to a Venezuelan woman. This is history. And then that prize is given to somebody who I don't think has been very peaceful. So again, my whole life since January 3rd, probably before, has been seeing the two sides of the coin.
Right.
Mirando las dos caras de la moneda.
So saying that the situations that you've been encountering, living, the reality, since then is very complex, that you are able to see both sides of these events, situations, however we want to talk about them.
Yeah, and it makes me think, I wonder if polarization, the polarization we're experiencing nowadays in the world, everywhere, is because people are only seeing one side of the coin. Because I think you can see, when you see two sides, it's very difficult to get polarized. Because on one hand, I'm grateful that Maduro is out. I'm grateful that they have released some of the political prisoners. But on the other side, I'm not grateful that his people are still in power and that they're not releasing all the political prisoners and the way it was done and what's going to happen next. So how can you be siding with anybody?
Well, that's the thing. I think you're right. Polarization is all about taking a side. When in fact, and I heard this from another Venezuelan that you shared the video with me, someone who was speaking about this complex situation and the mixed feelings that she was having watching Nicolas Maduro being removed from power, but also remembering all the the pain that that regime caused, and having mixed feelings, complex feelings about the potential for military occupation from another country, because nobody wants to see that either. So what's interesting about that to me is that the thing that really stuck out that she said is that you can live both sides at the same time. You can have feelings from both sides at the same time, even if they're conflicting, even if they're confusing, they're both real. It's not like you have to pick one side and the other one becomes invalid. And I think that goes to the polarization issue that you're talking about. We pick one side and suddenly the other one becomes invalid. When in reality, a lot of situations have two sides, dos caras de la moneda. And understanding, or at least trying to understand both, is really valuable.
And not only political situations, I can think, and these we have discussed many times in our rooms, which we invite you, as usual, if you want to discuss any topic, to visit our rooms where you can discuss with all the other subscribers or with us.
At newsandslowspanish.com,
News in
by
Slow
the way.
Spanish.
Yes.
But we have discussed this many times at rooms, like if you differentiate between the art and the artist. When you have a very amazing work of art, I don't know, Wagner, and then you have that artist being a supporter of ideas that you deeply disagree with.
Absolutely. Those are dos caras de la moneda. And it gets complicated because for many people it can get really difficult to enjoy the work of an artist like that. And that's valid too. If what someone has done or said or believes is so offensive to you that you can't enjoy their art anymore, that's valid. That's
It is valid.
Yeah. So dos caras de la moneda, two sides of the coin. Usually we don't pick a lot of expressions where we see the same expression in English and in Spanish, right? Because dos caras de la moneda, two sides to every coin, they're practically the same thing, right? Well, since you put me in charge of looking into the history of this expression, I went down a little rabbit hole. And what's really interesting is that, yes, they are very similar. They work, of course, in the same way. Two sides of every coin means that there's two sides to every situation, right? It can be a duality of a positive and a negative side, but it can also be, two things that are positive or two that are negative or neutral, but they're different aspects of one thing. Now, what's interesting to me is why in Spanish we have dos caras, two faces.
Mm-hmm.
But in English, we lose a little bit of the nuance when we say two sides, because there's no layers. It's just sides of a coin. Well, doing a little digging, in Spanish, we kept dos caras de la moneda because, well, first let me ask you, when you flip a coin in Venezuela or another country in Latin America, you say heads or tails. What is it in Spanish?
Yes, we say cara o sello.
Cara o sello. Sello is seal because a lot of coins have a
face on one side and a seal on the other one.
And the seal could be like the coat of arms, for example.
Yes.
In other countries, it's cara o cruz, heads or cross. Because in Spain, for example, there's a long tradition before modern currency of coins having the face of the ruler, of the monarch in power, and the Christian cross. So that was a long tradition. And then there are some other variations as well. Caro cruz, caro sello. No tails. That's heads or tails in English. I don't know where that comes from, but that's not the point. If you go back to Roman times, there were many kinds of coins. In fact, Rome was kind of a mess because of how many different coins were printed. But there were some coins, and I found out that traditionally they were printed and given away during the new year. that featured the Roman deity for duality, Janus,
Wow.
the two-headed god. Okay, now follow me.
Fascinating. Okay.
So some of them would have the face of Janus, which is a head with two faces on one side. Others would have faces printed on both sides of the coin, which would, of course, be really complicated if you were trying to do a coin flip because they were both heads.
It would be great for a magician.
Very good for a magician. But what's interesting about that is that Janus, with two faces, dos caras, was the god of duality, was the god of one face looking into the future, another one looking into the past, or two faces looking at two different sides of an argument, of a situation.
So it was one side of the coin that would remind you of the two sides of life.
Yes. But it's possible, because those coins are so old and a lot of Roman coins were kept into the vast Roman Empire and into areas where then Spanish developed as the language. It's possible that this idea of two faces was maintained linguistically all the way from Roman times, from those coins that had two faces.
Wow.
So it's possible. It's not a.
But it makes sense.
Yeah. And that's why two faces, las dos caras, represents. That's why we would say that instead of dos lados de la moneda. Lados being sides. The same
Exactly. We could say las dos lados would mean heads or tails, but las dos caras is the two faces in the coin when there's actually only one face.
Exactly. It's a possibility because we can trace it all the way back to Roman times and those early coins.
What matters is the meaning is the same.
Yeah.
Nothing is completely black, completely white. Everything has nuances, shades of gray.
And as we always do in News and Slow Spanish, we invite you to always consider both sides, all perspectives, really, because it's important.
It is more important than ever trying to listen to the other.
More than ever.
And
Listen
not to lose it when you listen to the other.
Yes. It doesn't mean you have to believe every argument or every side, but listening, considering what others have to say is important to stay informed.
And meanwhile, thank you for listening to us.
Yeah, we went a little long today, but it was a good subject.
It was worth it.
Yes.
So thank you, and we'll see you again next week.
Adios.